2 shots of vodka.
Hey, look! The Schmoobar plan is...
So in the Reap What You Sow update, Wormwood himself received a pretty significant update to his overall kit in Don't Starve. Some of his items are better now, though some could be considered worse. But despite it not being what I originally hoped it would be, I gotta say, I'm a fan. Starting off with his compost wrap, originally I thought it would be worse, and in some cases it is a worse alternative, having to wait the 32 seconds for 20 additional healing that compost wrap now gives. However, I actually think it's better in some cases, and even a preferred healing method in a boss fight like Dragonfly. This isn't due to the efficiency of the compost wrap, but rather than the fact that Wormwood can now force himself to bloom with it, and thus in bloom state 2 or 3, Wormwood is more than a match for Dragonfly. On this map, I specifically used the stutter step fighting style against Dragonfly, and with Wormwood's increased speed, you can effectively dodge far more than you would actually get hit now. I didn't even get hit at all during the first phase of the fight, and counting the 3 compost wrap I used beforehand to bloom, and the one I used for my taunt kill, this was only 11 compost wrap used on Dragonfly. And this may seem like a lot of manure to farm for compost wrap, and I didn't figure this was changed until 2 days ago. Compost wrap can now use werepigs to farm manure again by using their love of Taco Bell against them.
And this is my last pair of sheets, cause I pooped on the others!
On top of compost wrap having a decent buff, Wormwood now has a large variety of healing methods in the way of fertilizer items in general. I personally found plain compost, which is obtained from a compost bin, most efficient, as it can be made using most any item. And with an effective way of healing passively, Wormwood can now provide mass amounts of living logs effortlessly.
Did that guy just hand him his own arm?
More into the update on plants in general, weeds were introduced as a hostile plant that attacks people, save for Wormwood. So me being me, I of course tried to weaponize the two that can attack, and as disappointing as it is to admit, I couldn't get them to attack anything. I spawned in a wild Wilson and pushed him into some fire nettles, but even that took a while to kill him. And before I get the common idea of using bees as bloomed Wormwood, yeah, you could technically lure some bees to a location, but if you didn't do so before dusk, it would all be for nothing. And bees don't hold any allegiance towards Wormwood either, meaning you'll still have to make a bee mine, and it's overall just more efficient to capture them. Now comes to something that doesn't necessarily make Wormwood worse, but makes him less needed as a support. And that's the farming update in general, which allows people to plant mass amounts of crops without the ridiculously high cost of older farms. Wormwood used to be the only player that could plop down that many seeds in a short amount of time, but now anyone can, and it makes them less valuable.
There's absolutely nothing special about you.
Something that hasn't changed, but is now a worthwhile personal craft of his, is his Bramble Armor.
Looking to protect yourself or deal some damage?
Although it may be hard to renew if you're playing solo, it's still a worthwhile craft as it allows him to deal a little extra damage, even if it is minuscule compared to his damage output. However, it isn't a good substitute for actual armor, so the best way to use it is to combine it with another piece of armor, likely the football helmet. It can also be harmful in fights that require minions, such as the Bee Queen, as its AoE attack will also harm your minions when you put it on. Keeping in mind everything I've said brings me to my new ranking of Wormwood. Instead of doing the entire tier list a third time over the course of a year and a half, I'm just going to give out Wormwood's new rank. Previously, he was a medium D tier to being the worst single player in the game, and only carried by his role as a support, and now, his ranking is... High C tier.
Get it?
Probably at around the same rank as Wilson, and maybe even slightly higher. I could even understand if somebody ranked him at the bottom of B tier now. His healing may still be significantly less than anyone who can use food to heal, but his healing over time can be combined with that of healing salves and honey poultices, actively nullifying that problem. As for sanity and hunger, they were for the most part never even a problem for Wormwood, and with his control over his speed bonus and added damage from the bramble husks, he has far more pros than cons now. And finally, for Wormwood's potentials for the future, I do remain optimistic that eventually we will be getting at least some type of moon plant faction, or at least a creature of some kind that Wormwood will be able to tame or team with, much like we're with Merms. But like I said, even though this update wasn't what I had hoped it would be, I still have to say that I am a fan. Yeah, but when I said I was a fan, I actually meant fan the hammer, motherfucker! But what are your guys' thoughts? Is Wormwood better now? And more importantly, is he finished? Or maybe you argue that he's worse? Do you think I was onto something when I suggested he be able to tame more plant-like creatures, or was I completely rambling? In any case, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and yeah, that's about it. Peace, peace.
Huh? Oh my gosh! I am Arbor. I am proud Arborian male 3. Who are you? What are you looking at? You got problem with Arbor or what? Rather.